The bell above the diner door jingled as Emma slid another plate of pancakes onto table 5, her long-sleeved uniform doing little to hide the faint, raised scars running along her wrists and neck. It wasn't the first time someone had stared. Still, every time she caught someone's eyes lingering too long, she felt the familiar sting, not from the burns, but from the judgment. The diner's regulars barely noticed anymore, but tourists and newcomers almost always did. Today, a loud group of college kids in the corner booth whispered and snickered, their eyes darting toward her with thinly veiled mockery. "Looks like someone lost a fight with a campfire," one muttered just loudly enough for his friends to hear. Their laughter echoed cruelly across the polished linoleum floors. Emma kept her head down, focusing on the coffee pot in her hand. She didn't flinch or fire back. Instead, she walked away in silence, retreating behind the counter with practiced grace. She was used to the stares. Used to the whispers. What they didn't know, what she didn't bother telling anyone anymore, was that her scars weren't the result of some careless accident. They were the proof she'd once been a soldier. A medic. A survivor of a convoy ambush in Kandahar that had taken 3 lives and changed hers forever. Just as she was refilling a sugar container, the door chimed again. An older man in a worn army jacket and cane shuffled in. His gait was slow but purposeful, and his eyes held a quiet intensity that made Emma pause. There was something about him, maybe the upright dignity in the way he carried himself, maybe the silence he brought with him. He nodded at the hostess and made his way to the counter, sliding into the stool right in front of her. "Coffee." "Black," he said gruffly, but not unkindly. Emma nodded and poured him a fresh cup. As she placed it in front of him, his eyes caught a glimpse of her left wrist, where her sleeve had ridden up just enough to reveal part of a faded tattoo, a winged serpent intertwined with a dagger. The insignia of the 75th Medical Battalion. The man blinked hard, then squinted. "That tattoo. You served?" Emma froze for a moment. No one had ever noticed it before, or if they had, they'd never dared to ask. She nodded, her voice cautious. "Yes, sir. Army. I was a combat medic." The man sat back slowly, setting down his mug. His eyes didn't leave hers. "Where?" "Kandahar. 2013, Operation Iron Shield." A long pause. "Damn," he whispered, almost to himself. "That's where my boy died." Emma swallowed, her throat tight. She had learned to bury emotions deep down, but this hit different. "I was there," she said quietly. "There was a lot of chaos. I tried to help everyone I could." The man reached into the pocket of his jacket and pulled out a worn, laminated photo of a young soldier, grinning broadly with a patch that matched her tattoo just above his heart. "This was my son. Tyler. Tyler Granger." Emma gasped, her knees weakening. "Tyler. I knew him. He helped pull me from the burning Humvee. He saved my life." Tears welled up in the old man's eyes. "He always said he wanted to be a medic, like his mom. I didn't know he actually saved someone." "He saved me," Emma said, voice trembling. "And I tried to save him. I stayed with him until the end." The diner around them seemed to disappear into silence. Even the college kids had quieted down, now watching the two from afar, sensing something sacred unfolding. Emma reached into her apron and pulled out a small, well-worn dog tag. This was his. "I've carried it ever since. I didn't know where to send it." The old man's hands trembled as she placed it in his palm. He clutched it to his chest and closed his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. She nodded, blinking back tears. "No. Thank you. I owe him everything." He looked around the diner, then back at her. "And yet you're working here?" Emma smiled softly. "The VA covers most things, but the healing takes time. I needed something steady. Something normal." He stared at her for a long moment, then chuckled. Normal? Lady, there's nothing normal about you. You're a damn hero. Emma shook her head. I'm just someone who tried to do the right thing. Across the diner, one of the college kids got up and approached the counter. He looked sheepish, embarrassed. Ma'am, he started, his voice uncertain, I didn't know. I mean, we didn't know. Emma gave him a forgiving nod. It's okay. Most people don't. But the old man turned in his seat, his eyes sharp. No, son. It's not okay. You looked at those scars and saw weakness. I see bravery. I see someone who ran toward the fire when everyone else ran away. The kid looked down, ashamed. I'm sorry. Emma gave a small, reassuring smile. Apology accepted. Later, after the lunch rush thinned out, the old man remained at the counter, nursing his coffee. He scribbled something on a napkin and handed it to her. I run a foundation in my son's name, helps veterans get back on their feet. We've got housing, scholarships, therapy. I want you to come by. Not as a charity. As family. Emma stared at the napkin. The Tyler Granger Foundation. I thought it closed down, she whispered. He shook his head. Almost did. But hearing what you said today, it gave me a reason to keep it going. Maybe, together, we can help others like you. Like him. Emma bit her lip, overcome with emotion. I'd like that, she said softly. As the old man rose to leave, he placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Scars tell stories, Emma. Don't ever let anyone make you feel ashamed of surviving. Sometimes, the strongest souls wear their pain on the outside. The door jingled behind him, and she watched him disappear into the sunlight. For the first time in years, Emma felt seen, not as broken or damaged, but as someone who mattered. Someone who had made a difference. And from that day forward, no one in the diner laughed at her scars again. Instead, they listened. They learned. And they honored the woman who bore them with quiet strength and unwavering grace. Moral: scars are not shameful, they're proof that we've lived, fought, and survived. When we choose compassion over judgment, we not only see the truth in others, we discover something greater in ourselves.